Okay, so this is my own view that we are at a point which is a point of transition, and we're shifting from largely an industrial culture dominated by industrial media to digital culture. Not only digital media, but digital effects across the board in terms of who we are, what we are, and where we're going. So we talk about digital research, digital basis for scientific communication. We talk about also, because we say we are on the cusp, we're at the very beginning of the epoch of digital reason. Now, I coined that expression. I coined that view because I think that it is an epistemological era dominated by the digital, an ontological era dominated by the digital. And when I try to provide some description of that, I do so by reference to the history of digital logic. And when you look at the history of digital logic, we start with Boolean algebra. George Boole, 19th century British logician, and you see its movement through a whole range of mathematical and logical movements, like the European movement of formalism in linguistics, logicism, the attempt to reduce logic to its foundations, mathematics to its logical foundations. And that brings us into the early 20th century to the truth table logic work of Wittgenstein, to the on-off switch when that kind of logic becomes electronic for the first time, through the development of technologies that involve transistors and so on, which is the evolution of a set of digital logics that manifest themselves in digital technologies on the whole, across the board, digital technologies, not just media, but I think it is so all-encompassing, we have to talk about the epoch of digital reason, and that constructs us in subjectivity effects in very specific ways. So I think it is a major break in the development of humankind, in the development of human culture. And digital culture is easy to say, but because we're at the very early stage of it, it's very hard to be able to describe it. It'll transform all our institutions, government, universities, schools, the economy. Everything that we take to be modern institutions will be transformed by this logic. We are seeing now, to take one example, the disappearance of the traditional kind of bank where there were tellers. Now, we're all used to holding bits of plastic in our hands and going to a hole in the wall with the ATM machine. The same is true with newspapers. Now, they're dying off in the United States. Soon there will be no industrial media like newspapers, no broadcast media, or the broadcast media, the significance of it will be overtaken by something which is participatory, which is based on a kind of shared ethos, based on the ability of private enterprise to be able to capture the benefits of public ecologies and siphon off those benefits. So, we shouldn't be too dogmatic about what direction it's going to go in, and we shouldn't be too dogmatic about being able to describe what the dimensions of digital culture are. But sure, as much as we can be sure, we are certainly entering the era of digital cultures.